Hello, Rachel Nisaka from Radical Alchemy, reading you my latest essay, which is titled, Won't You Be in My Community? On the Power of Community, Especially During Transitions. It is December 2014, and I am camped out on my friend Becca's couch in Brooklyn, where we are watching the Victoria's Secret fashion show and laughing uncontrollably about something ridiculous that I don't remember. I'd kept my Manhattan job after moving away from NYC 2 weeks prior, with the agreement that I'd work remotely for the first few months to see how it went, and I was already back for a client meeting. I will never again have friends like this, I thought at the time. My husband and I had timed our move to Phoenix to be less than 2 months after we got married in Prospect Park. We knew we wanted to raise kids near my parents, and truthfully, our Brooklyn Heights building was raising the rent on our 600 square foot apartment. We would have to move anyway, might as well just bite the bullet and go cross country. It was fucking hard. In New York, I had a truly amazing community. I moved there with several girlfriends from college, and we not only grew closer navigating this strange new life together, but we also expanded our individual connections. I had coworkers from two long-term jobs who had been promoted to life friends. I did my yoga teacher training at Yoga Vita in NoHo, accumulating a group of women we called the Yogamily. I volunteered with the same mentorship organization for years, developing long-standing relationships with my fellow mentors and even one of my mentees. I adopted my husband's group of friends who called themselves the Poor Man's Entourage after the HBO show. I was honored when one of them claimed that Rachel finally brought around the girls who are good looking and cool. That's the 20 to 30 something male way of saying amazing community, by the way. And then I moved to Phoenix, and my group of friends consisted of my parents, my husband, my cat, and one or two friends from high school. My husband and I stayed in my childhood bedroom with our cat and her litter box, and I wondered why I had left behind my amazing community for this. So, 2 weeks later, while I clutched my aching abs as Becca and I were doubled over cackling over whatever we were cackling about that day, I just knew I'd never find my people again. But this is the thing. When you are young and living in New York City, your entire life is a time of transition. Perhaps this is one of the reasons why city life is not for everyone. Everything moves fast, and you either ride the wave or you get sucked down under it. After spending 8 years in the constant transition of first Manhattan and then Brooklyn, I moved back to Arizona and immediately came down with a very serious case of what the fuck did I just do to my life? And then I tried very, very hard to get pregnant. In retrospect, this was partially because I was craving another community building transition. Apparently, one that would, again, make me ask what the fuck I just did to my life, but one that would also help me find my people. Upon moving, I reconnected with one of my close friends from high school, Heather, and we set out to get pregnant at the same time. She welcomed her baby boy on December 6th, 2015. I welcomed mine on January 8th, 2016. While pregnant, we signed up for the same prenatal class with the goal of meeting people. We made friends in that class, sure. And then we all had babies. One might think that was the end of those blossoming friendships, now that we were all spending our days covered in shit and puke. Except when one is covered in shit and puke, friendship with adults is sort of the only thing that can save you from insanity. Preferably, this is done with other adults who are also covered in shit and puke. Desperate and lonely, a new friend I had met in this class, Ailey, and I decided to start a mom's group at the synagogue where my mom worked and where I grew up. For the first few months after Heather went back to work, it was Ailey, my mom, and me. Every week, I couldn't wait for Tuesday for there to be an hour dedicated to just existing with my baby, my mom, and my newest lifelong friend. Ailey had invited another woman from our class, Leanne, whose baby was born 2 days after mine, to join the group. A few weeks later, several women from the next class had their babies and also joined. Listen, my oldest son is 10, and many of these women are still close friends today, even though several, including Ailey, have moved away. Leanne has become one of my very closest friends, and her son and mine are brothers, best friends for life. During this time, I was still desperate. I had a newborn after all, but I was no longer lonely. How did this happen so fast? Oh, yeah, community, because when I couldn't find it, I built it. And suddenly I realized that every transition I've ever been through has been what has led me to community in one form or another. Go to college, know no one, build a community. Get laid off, get a new job, build a community. Spend a month alone in Costa Rica, barely able to speak Spanish, take Spanish classes, build a community. Kids start elementary school, feel lost and alone, build a community. And now I find myself in transition from a full-time job to solopreneurship. For someone who thrives in relationship building, this one has been interesting to reconcile. But alas, I'm building a community. I've reached out to previous bosses and mentors doing the same work that I am creating for myself. I've reconnected with old friends and coworkers through the act of coaching them. I've met wonderful friends and role models in my coaching program. One of these friends is Saunders, a therapist in the Bay Area who had the great idea to start a women's group called the Wise Thread Collective to create space for professional women building intentional careers and lives, often during times of transition. And Saunders threatened me with a good time. So now we are doing it together. As I've said numerous times, my objective on Substack isn't to sell. Instead, my purpose is truly to get smarter and to enjoy the community that exists here. Community, it's everywhere. With that in mind, I'm also running a business. And when it makes sense to share the details with those of you who have let me see into your soul, no big deal. I'm not going to pretend that I'm not trying to create a livelihood for myself outside of Substack. And I'd love to tell you more about it. Wise Thread Collective, a space for women building intentional careers and lives. Why join us? You are a female identifying professional who is navigating change or transition, wants career sustainability, seeking alignment between values and work, is craving clarity, reflection, and community, is ready for honest conversation and intentional next steps. What you'll gain: clear articulation of your core values and non-negotiables, greater internal alignment and confidence, a grounded plan for moving forward with integrity, support from a trusted peer community and coaching experts. How it works: small, facilitated online cohort, 8 sessions over 4 months with options for one-on-one coaching, group coaching, reflection, and discussion, confidential, supportive space. If you look at the article, you can see the whole one sheet and read a little bit more about it. So I will leave you with one last anecdote. When I went away to college, I remember being so excited. I could be anyone I wanted and no one would know the truth. Except what I quickly realized was this: everywhere you go, you are who you are. Being someone you're not does not a lasting community make. The magic is in figuring out who you really are. And then the real work is learning to like that person, learning how to create space for her to confidently move through the world, and doing the same for those around you. If that is something that interests you, regardless of whether this is through Wise Thread Women's Collective or not, I'd like to know you. I'd like to partner with you to keep building our kind, intelligent, emotionally respectful community here on Substack. After all, community doesn't suddenly show up once you've figured it out. Instead, it's the vessel that can bring you into becoming who you are meant to be. And how lucky are we to be on this adventure together?